Alright, hello everybody. Today we talk about conditionals. It's been a long time since I recorded any videos, but that's a grammar topic for my first year students. So let's consider what we're going to do today. We're going to discuss basically the conditionals. The zero conditional, that's pretty simple. First conditional sentences about usual events and usual stuff that we negotiate and we discuss. What happens if this happens? What will I do if the weather is fine? What will I do if unless, and so on. So then we move to some unreal situations, so unreal conditions. Second and third one, we will discuss the mixed cases also. Mixed scenarios. Then we will discuss your homework, and I will do a bit of practice with you, or instead of for you, so that you could see how it's done. So zero conditionals and conditionals in general are almost the same as we have in programming. So you can see here in this line, this is a line from some programming code. So if something is true, then do this and that. So zero conditional looks the same thing. We also, and all other conditionals too. We have two parts basically in the sentence, two small sentences with the subject and the verb. The subject and the verb here, the subject and the verb goes here. It's very important. So we got two parts, the main part in red and the black part, the if part in black. So let's consider these three sentences in zero conditional sentences. So if the alarm goes off, push the dead man switch. So if you do this, then do this. You are not a true king. You have to remind everyone that you are the one. And kids go strong when they have discipline. So zero conditional sentences are general knowledge, things that are true all the time, that work like rules or laws of nature. So we use present simple for both parts, and this is a very simple case. This is a very simple scenario. So the most common case for conditionals is the first conditional sentences. They're called real conditionals, real conditions. So in the main part we have will plus infinitive, because we're talking about the future events and the present events and the future events. And in the if part here, in the conditional part, we have present simple. Well, usually we have present simple. Sometimes we can have present perfect. Sometimes we can have present continuous. But general case, present simple. So we got this example. Oh, sorry. We got the example. If you don't help me with this task, I will tell mom. So the main sentence is here in red. I will tell mom. Is in future simple, as you can see. So, and the if part is in present simple. It's all about the future. So then instead of if here in the if part, we can use some other words and expressions. It's not only about the first condition, any kind of conditional. For example, as soon as is a good alternative. And we could say, like, we will hunt down the rest of the aliens as soon as the mothership is destroyed. So as you can see, it works the same way. We have future simple here, will hunt, and we have present simple here, is destroyed. It's passive, but present simple is present simple. Or you can use the word provided instead of if, but it's very bookish. So I put this sentence and this sentence in gray because these sentences are not so common. Provided and should instead of if make you sound a little bit bookish, not so colloquial, as you can say. It's very rare, but people use that and people understand that it's also a conditional sentence. So you can upgrade your hardware provided, so if you have enough money. So we'll wait here should the guests arrive early. So you can say in case the guests arrive early, or should the guests arrive early, or if the guests arrive early, we'll wait here for that case. So again, we use future simple, will wait in the main part, and present simple, guests arrive in the if part. So this is about the first conditional. Let's see the other one. Unless is also an alternative for if, but it's not just for if, it's for if and the negative part, if not. So let's consider the sentence: if you don't help me with this task, I will tell mom. So you can see we have negative verb here, don't help, so do not help. So if we use unless, we can use unless instead of if here, and we can turn this sentence into unless you help me with this task, I will tell mom. Of course, more naturally you can switch, parts, the order of the parts. More naturally it would sound like I will tell mom unless you help me with this task. So we don't need don't, because there is no negative. The unless takes the negative part, the negative portion of the sentence into itself. So as you can see, these two sentences are the same in terms of meaning. So if you don't help me with this task, I will tell mom. I will tell mom unless you help me with this task. So some other examples, like Sam will fail his driving test unless he trains harder, or I won't finish the report in time unless someone helps me with the statistics. So as you can see, it also works fine using unless instead of if not. So you can translate the sentences and you will see that we also use mechanics are the same. So will fail, future simple in the main part here, future simple in main part here, and present simple here, unless he trains or unless someone helps, present simple. So, but I also remind you again that these words unless, as soon as, or I don't know what, should, provided, can be used instead of if in any kind of conditional sentence. We can even use when if it's possible. So second conditional sentences we turn into unreal cases, unreal scenarios. But who decides what is real and unreal, what is possible and what is impossible? That's the person who is speaking. If you think that this is unlikely to happen, that this is not a real situation, you can use second conditional instead of the first one. As here in this example, if I could help Tony, I would. So by using second conditional, I kind of tell everybody that I don't think it is possible. So if nobody can help Tony, but if I could, I would do that. But I can't, I couldn't do that. So in terms of grammar, we use would plus infinitive. It's like pushing the will into the past. Will part here, as you can see, it was will here. So instead of will, we use would. In the main part, we add infinitive, and here in the if part, we use past simple. Again, we move like back into the past, like one step. It was present simple before, it is past simple now, but it is again. Just pay attention. These second conditional sentences are about the future and the present, not about the past. So if we had enough money, we would buy this huge sofa. So you're looking at the sofa in the shop. It's pretty big, it's comfy, it's nice, but you don't have enough money because it's expensive. So you say that if we had money, we would buy this sofa, but it's not possible now. So, and also a great common sentence that everybody uses is like, if I were you, I would do this and that. This sentence, this beginning of the sentence, if I were you, is for recommendations and your advice, basically. In Russian, it sounds like на твоем месте я бы. So, it's the same mechanics in the same way. So if, you can give recommendations like, if I were you, I wouldn't wear this t-shirt for your work, for example. Or if I were you, I wouldn't. I would do the homework on time, you know. But I'm not you, so it's unreal conditional sentence. Moving on. Third conditional sentences are also unreal, but they are unreal because we're discussing the past events, and you can see the figures here in sepia, in black and white, so it's kind of the past. So we are discussing the past situation, saying what could have happened if we could be different if we had done something in a different way. So, and we move again down into the past, deeper into the past. So in the if part, we use past perfect instead of past simple. And we use would, have, and the third form of the verb, past, the passive participle, the second participle here. So would have, second participle in the main part. Yeah, it looks. I understand that it looks kind of weird, and it looks like it makes the sentence really long. But the third conditionals are not so common. Not so many people say that every day. You don't discuss your past all the time, so it's a rare scenario, but it happens, and you need to understand what's going on. So it's about the past, and you can say, if you had called me yesterday, first example, I would have picked you up from the airport. So your friend arrived to at the airport yesterday, and he grabbed a taxi, a cab, and he decided to, spend a lot of money. But you tell him that if he had called you yesterday, basically you would take your car and grab him from the airport, and he wouldn't have had to use the public transport and wait in line and so on. So and also we can use if only or I wish here. We'll tell about if only and I wish just later in the next slide. So imagine that you meet a girl and you understand that she's perfect for you, but you are married and you have 2 kids, and you say that if only I had met you or her 2 years ago. That's the part. This part is also past perfect, as you can see. So it's also if part, and you can imagine what's in the main part there. Now, talking in detail about I wish and if only, these parts, these expressions, they substitute the main part here in red. So you can use the if parts of normal conditionals. Imagine that this is just part of the sentence, as here, and use the corresponding if parts. So I wish I wasn't allergic to cats. So I'm allergic to cats, but I love cats. I wish I had a cat, but I'm allergic, so I say, if only I wasn't allergic to cats. So I wish I wasn't allergic to cats, and that makes me sad because I am allergic to cats. If only you had told me before I opened the door. So I opened the door, and it was a bad choice, obviously, because some monsters attacked me or something. So, and my friend knew that I was going to be ambushed, but he didn't tell me. But if he told me, I would have prepared for that. So I can say that if only you had told me before. But he didn't. So these are also alternatives to the normal second and third conditional sentences. You can use them freely. It's a good choice for colloquial English. So there are also mixed cases when something in the past that you could do differently would affect the present. That's the most common case, and we can use the main part from the third conditional, as you can see, and the second part, the if part, from the second conditional. So would have and past participle, second participle here, and the just normal past simple from the second conditional in the if part. So if you had called me, oh sorry, I didn't write any examples here, but you can imagine, like, if you had called me yesterday, I would know that you are in town now. Or if only I had met this girl 2 years ago, I would be married to her today. So this is a mixed case. You kind of mix second and third conditional sentences together. It's also possible. So a quick overview of the conditional sentences. We got if parts, main parts in the table. So the zero conditional sentences uses present simple. Altogether, it's like general knowledge. Everybody knows about these things. It's a fact. It's a rule. It is always true. That's why you use present simple here and in the main part. This first conditional, the most common case, we use present simple in the if part, and we use like normal future simple in the main part, will plus infinitive. So it's like for negotiating and telling normal rules. If the weather is fine tomorrow, we will go to the park. Of course, we will not because of the coronavirus, but that's an example. So if we leave now, we will be on time for the movie to start, for example. It's about the present, and also the second conditional here, I put it in green, is also about the present situations and future situations, but you consider them unreal. That's why you use second conditional instead of the first one. Well, and you use past simple in the if part and would plus infinitive in the main part. So if I was a president of the United States, I would be like really, really rich because Trump is the president of the United States. Or if I were you, I would participate in the classes more. Or if I were you, I would start this online course. The third conditional here is also unreal, but it's about the past events, and you use past perfect here, and would have, and the past participle or past perfect here, and would have passive participle, second participle here. So it gets pretty long, but you will get used to it. So as you can see, as you can understand, what I want you to understand is that from the first conditional to the third conditional, we kind of move deeper into the past. Present turns into past simple turns into past perfect in terms of grammar, and will moves becomes would, and would becomes would have, and the third form of the verb. So pay attention to this. It's easy to remember, especially well, if you have some practice. And now it's time for some practice. We can do that together. These three exercises will be your home assignment. Let's continue. Let's quickly do this exercise number 4 together. You need to rewrite the sentences. We need to do that together. I will call the police if you don't leave me alone, and we need to use unless. So unless you leave me alone, I will call the police. That's how you should rewrite the sentence. In the snowy weather, we don't go to school. If it snows, so I think this is a rule. So I would use zero conditional here. If it snows, we don't go to school. Without Jack's help, I wouldn't have been able to move the table. So if Jack hadn't helped me, that's the part of the third conditional, because this is the main part of the third conditional, and I use if part from the third conditional too, because it's about the past. Jack helped me, but if Jack hadn't helped me, I wouldn't have been able. Yeah, it gets long to move the table. It gets long, but you will get used to it with the practice. So make me some coffee and I will give you one of my biscuits. So that's the common case negotiating, you see. First conditional goes here pretty fine. So if you make me some coffee, present simple here, I will, future simple here, give you my biscuit. So one of my biscuits. If you hadn't told me about Sue's hair, I wouldn't have noticed. So unless you, so with unless we need to move the to remove the negative part, because unless is negative. Unless you had told me about Sue's hair, and the rest stays the same. I wouldn't have noticed. As you can see, this is a pretty simple third conditional sentence. Past perfect here, and would have noticed here. So if you see Peter, tell him to be here at 8. So we use should instead of if. So should you see Peter, maybe tell him to be here at 8 o'clock. Same thing. I wouldn't accept if you asked me to marry you. So this is a hypothetical unreal situation for this person who is saying that. So if you were, I wouldn't accept if you asked me to marry you. Pretty tricky one. So I would say, like, if you asked me to marry you, I wouldn't accept. But we can say, like, if you were to ask me to marry you, I wouldn't accept. No, it's the same thing. I don't know how to turn it around. So, right, let's get back to our presentation. We have to discuss the homework pretty quick. I remind you that you have to write your essays about about environmental issues, and it would be really great if you would use some conditional sentences in your essay, like imagine or discuss some situations, what will happen or what would happen or what could happen if something changes, something changed, if you consider that unreal. So questions that you need to highlight or probably might help you to develop your ideas is like, why is it so important to protect the environment, the nature? In your opinion, is it important? What organizations and, well, basically to answer this question you need do some research or watch my previous video about the environmental issues, or do both. So, and you can discuss here why not so many organizations are working together to tackle the problem with the environment. And the third one is your personal ideas about how you, as an individual, as a human being, can help to protect the environment. So, and as for some practice, we have some exercises, 3 exercises in the file I sent you, like conditional practice A. Please complete the first, second, and third exercises in the file and upload that to the Google Drive. Well, that sums it up for today. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you next week. Good luck and stay safe.